They are the good guys of the comic book world, but now for the first time ever, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne are suiting up for the big screen together, facing off in an epic battle that might just become an epic partnership. ABC's Chris Connolly goes behind the scenes with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill in Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
He may be the new man in the bat suit, with major bat boots to fill, but Ben Affleck says he's long been drawn to the depths of the Dark Knight.
Batman's the most interesting superhero in a way because he's the most human. You know, he's the most like us, and he can be kind of broken, which is really fascinating to be coupled with all this heroic stuff.
The movie pits the two mightiest icons of the DC Comics universe against each other.
Stay down! If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
Yet its stars know. Batman vs. Superman is the wait, what? Of movie titles.
It's counterintuitive because you think A, like, well, they're both good guys, and B, how could Batman really fight Superman since Superman's, you know, an alien and way stronger than him and invulnerable?
If you were to just have a head-to-head Batman against Superman, you know, punch-up, we all know who wins.
Batman vs. Superman uses multiple story strands and Jesse Eisenberg's string-pulling villain to put its do-gooders at odds, starting with a reprise of the end of Man of Steel and its destruction of Metropolis.
You do have to realize that there is collateral damage which happens with that, and someone's going to get blamed. And that someone happened to be Superman.
It was important to sort of see that, yeah, there's consequence. It would be amazing if Bruce Wayne witnessed that.
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. And we have to destroy him.
As he takes on 32-year-old Henry Cavill's Superman Clark Kent, Affleck at 43 is the oldest actor ever to be cast as Batman Bruce Wayne.
I pursued Ben because I wanted a Batman that had been Batman for 20 years. He had the experiences that we know sort of collectively in pop culture. I felt like that character had a chance against Superman because he could outthink him.
I wanted to be in one of these movies that was ballsy and that had something to say, you know, and I wanted to do a movie that my kids would think was cool. My son thinks it's cool.
Samuel, the youngest of his kids with Jennifer Garner, led Affleck to meet the actor who excelled for director Christopher Nolan in the 3 Batman epics that elevated the genre and grossed more than $1 billion domestic.
I was literally in a costume shop. And not only that, but my son was really into Batman, wanted to get a Batman costume. So I was in the Batman aisle, and I hear this voice like, "Hey, Ben, is that you?" And I turn around, and that's my bad impersonation of Christian Bale's voice, who I didn't even realize was British. You know what I mean? The guy is such a good actor. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't talk like that, you know? And it's Christian, and he's incredibly sweet, really cool, and he's talking to me about going off and doing the movie, and he's like, listen, make sure they put a zipper in that suit. I couldn't take a piss for 3 movies. So, sound advice.
Inside the suit, a physique painstakingly primed to superhero standards. An absolute necessity, given Cavill's Instagrammically impeccable pecs.
That was very daunting. I thought, if I have to be as in good a shape as this guy, I think I'm in trouble. I worked out for almost a year before this movie started to get into becoming a superhero at my advanced age, and that does not come easy. But that's what audiences have come to expect. I look at the Adam West Batman now, and I think, God, this guy's got away with murder.
Affleck should know.
Someone's in need.
He was in his less muscular mid-30s when he put on the supersuit to play TV's Man of Steel star George Reeves in 2006's Hollywoodland.
I need to go and have a look at that. For no other reason than maybe I can just make fun of Ben on the press tour.
Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice cues fanboys and girls that director Zack Snyder is also looking to amass the Justice League, DC's all-star array for future Avenger-style films, with this butt-kicking super sylph making her big screen debut.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
My most fun day on the set was when my kids came to set and saw us in the costumes, and my son was like, "Is that the real Wonder Woman?" I was like, "Yes, that actually is the real Wonder Woman. You're finally seeing the real one."
How about when kids see you? What's it like when a child comes across and recognizes kind of who you are? What's that like to be on the other end of?
That is probably the scariest part of this, because when a child sees you and sees you as Superman, there is a lot of responsibility there not to mess up. You're often not expecting it. It's the last minute where, you know, a parent just thrusts their child in front of you, and you have to say just the right things. And you never know what a kid's going to ask either, because kids are honest.
Audiences expected to flock to its March 25th opening will be honest as well. With Snyder looking to show Batman vs. Superman is a worthy successor to Nolan's film. And Affleck eager to provide more than just moral support as his director turns 50. Are you going to do anything special for him in honor of his 50th?
I'm going to give him a lap dance. Yeah. It's the only gift I can be sure he won't give back. And he can't re-gift.
For Nightline, I'm Chris Connolly in Los Angeles.
Yo, we back in this bitch for another one. That was the extra bitch in the beginning because this is a good ass interview. So, my homie, Steve, I hope I get his name right, the ending of it, his last name. I say Kasan, but I think it's like Kasan. But we got him on the show today, and he requested a guest. He was like, yo, can we get Kojay on the show too? I was like, yeah. Bam, put that shit together. Just finished interviewing them both, just finished wrapping it up. I'm editing right now, but I want y'all really to get into this interview. Watch it 2 or 3 times because they drop some dimes, they drop some real good gems that, like I said, a lot of people need to know. A lot of times my demographic is like 98% man, so a lot of these conversations, men should be knowing, men should be saying, men should be talking about it. And not only are we coming together under the Snyder Cut movement, but we're also coming together on, you know, a lot of men shit that we need to talk about. And we had a great conversation tonight about some of that shit that men need to talk about. Let's get it. This is one of the greatest podcasts I think we've done. Definitely one of the greatest we've done in a while. Go Deep, episode 191. Lord Kojay, me, and Steve Kasan. I think I said his name right. Let's get into some music. Then we get into the interview. Then we're gonna tell your mama to leave us the fuck alone because she's getting annoyed. You know, we're just trying to enjoy our summer. You bitch!
That rat fink stool pigeon chicken head. Who does she think she is? Trying to move in on my operation. She must think Don Provolone is a chump. I'm the big cheese of this outfit. Get her on the phone right now. You want to go to war? You leave me no choice in this matter. I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
All right, fellas. Let's go buy some children.
I got your mind twisted. Unrealistic wavelength draining all your brain strength, inflicted crosswords puzzling your doubt, questioning your own mental health. Yeah, it's like a maze within itself. Yeah, check the grimy, slimy, criminal individuality, searching for the dark night, lurking in the shadows of the city. Hero with Jiggy, my crime committee, robbing every golf and piggy bank blind. Take a journey through the mind of a riddler. offender, demented, brain cemented, mixing the blender. Illusion, mass confusion, question mark, clues in what, where, why, who's in. Quiz, time to ask yourself who it is. Shiesty be you know, underhanded biz, invaded brothers' wigs. Can I live? Corrupting, bringing all the misery and suffering. Pain you couldn't cure with the buffering. Rotating, ridiculous, rapid fire riddle. Back, get trapped in the middle of the red line. Observe if you will. I'm in my hideout in the back of the hills. I crack a ball, then I quarter by the mill. Co-defendants Johnny Blaze and Bobby Stills. We was blazing hot wheels. Turn the corner, you can hear the wheels squeal. On that ass fast was the Batmobile. I can tell by the demon on the grill. This was real. Alley cat screaming. I hear the trash can, garbage everywhere. Money flying out the bags and trying to escape. Hold on with the cape, or LCP headed upstate. It's the red blood. Suicide, not a problem. Speaking homicide, not a problem. We wanna talk genocide, not a problem. It's the red blood. Feel good, don't it? Then you flown it. Got
Cool. All right. This is Go Deep episode 191. I got a newcomer to the show. I got my boy down at the bottom, if y'all can see that. This is Steve Kasan. What's going on, Steve?
What's up, everyone? Thank you for having me on here. This is huge on Go Deep. On Go Deep, the original.
Right.
The original, yo.
Damn
Not
right,
these other
baby.
imitatings.
Damn
Not the
right.
imitating things.
Damn
This is the
right.
original thing. The original. With my man, Mr. West.
I like
and the one
this
and
guy.
only Kojay. Who's that jumping out the sky, bro?
Huh? Wow, we need to hire
The
this.
originals.
We need to hire Steve, man. You know?
No, he's got that pro wrestling energy. I feel it. He just fired me up. I'm fired up.
Yeah, I'm fired up too, bro.
I didn't think I'd get fired up more, but he fired me up.
Man, how can you not get fired up when you're in the original spot? You know, this is the original spot.
Yes, I love it. So, Kojay, this is not Kojay's first time. Everyone knows Kojay. He's been on here a while. Kojay, just say
Happy
hi.
to be back.
Yes, sir. All right, so we got a nice little trifecta going on today. But Steve, since you're new here, tell us something about yourself and what got you in the movement, and a little bit of your resume.
Okay, so I am an actor in Toronto, Ontario. Toronto, Canada, home of the defending NBA champs, still the Raptors. They're gonna go 3-0. Gonna run them back. But anyways, yeah, I've been an actor for I would say going the past over 5 years now, and did a bunch of stuff, still keeping on going and all that. And as you can see, I represent my man Zach,
right,
who just went nuclear today with another teaser.
Yeah.
And in terms of being part of the movement, well, at first, I think I could say we all became a part of this movement if we ever defended Man of Steel, or even started with Watchmen.
Right.
Because I remember at the time back then, everyone's using this phrase "dangerous president" with when it comes to Zach and AT&T and HBO Max, like giving him the keys and everything, like going all in. But if you look back, Man of Steel, I distinctly remember every some bitch always used the phrase wanton destruction with the whole Metropolis thing and
Right.
everyone talking about. That's when the gatekeeping started. Ever since
Right.
back then, I'm like, yo, what are you talking about?
Right.
I see Man of Steel. This is a genre, just a game-changing film. I saw this film 4 times,
Right.
and each time was something new, something different. And my mind was boggles and thinking like, why is everyone attacking this film, and especially Zach and this take? It's the first
Right.
time that made me care about Superman,
Right.
because we all think of Superman as this, this marketed version of Superman, the fabrication of Superman. That is like, oh, I just like the logo. I just like that he's strong.
Right.
He smiles. He's a blue Boy Scout and everything like that. But nobody actually looked in depth into the actual character of Superman. That's what Zach did, and is what made me kind of like a fan of Superman. Everyone's a fan of these comics, but what makes you a real fan? So Man of Steel is the first. So you could say that's the beginning of the movement right there. If you ever supported Zach in Man of Steel, then that increased with Batman v Superman, which blew my mind. It's like walking out of the theater. I remember walking out and looking to my friends saying, man, that was a fucking movie. That was a movie.
Hell yeah.
And then everyone started giving their opinions and everything, and all these knuckleheads online, the same knuckleheads that I continue today, saying the same thing over and over again. And now look, we are with the Snyder Cut, and being in the industry here up in Toronto, but also being in the field of acting. For me, one of the main goals for me is to be a working actor, and to have this as the profession, not just as a thing I also do with my day job. That's one of the goals, to make this actually the income, to get on set all the time and everything. And ever since Man of Steel, that's when I said, like, you know what? Another goal, aside from being a working actor, is to work with Zach.
Right.
But also, not just work with Zach, to be one of Zach's go-tos. It's like if Zach says, hey, I want to just shoot something. It's like how you guys like, hey, yo, Kojay, I want to talk about something. Okay, Kojay's my go-to. Okay, what's just my go-to?
Right.
That's another goal, to be one of Zach's go-tos. So
Right.
that's the plan, that's the path, and gotta stick on your road, man. That's my road to go.
Hell yeah.
It may take long, but that's my road to travel.
Right.
So
Right.
that's all about me. You can find me. I got my IMDb that says I'm an actor, I guess. Everyone's got that. So. And you can find me online, Steve Kasan. Just find that. And that's you can find everything about me, about my acting, and who I am.
Cool.
So
cool. That's dope, man. And Zach sometimes watches this podcast, so he might hear that. He might see that.
hey, like I said, the thing about living our roads and living our dreams and living our passion is that it's like the Rambo song. It's a long road, right?
Right. Right.
But you gotta be on your road, and you gotta be on your path.
Correct.
If it happens tomorrow, great. If it happens 10 years from now, great. But that's your road to travel.
Right.
That's not someone else's road to travel. You
Right.
can't travel on someone else's road.
Right.
So that's the path you got to take. So
Correct.
hey, no matter how, but you still got to travel.
Right.
You still got to ride it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
It's like it's not like you can't stop.
Right.
Because
And
if
the
you
travel
stop,
never ends.
Right.
yeah, if you stop, then it's like
Then
you
it
start
ends.
questioning yourself. Yeah,
Right.
then it ends.
Right.
Because
Then
once
it
you
ends.
question yourself, and when you regret, that's when it stopped. And it's
Hell
hard
yeah.
to get back on. So
Hell yeah.
True story.
No, that's
gotta keep
perfect.
going.
That's perfect. I'm glad you said that, because that actually reached in a conversation that me and my homeboy was having before I was talking to you. He was having some girl problems, but he was on some shit like, yeah, I'm just not gonna stop. Fuck it. That can be yesterday's news. And that's just what you said is exactly what he needed to hear, So it's like, I think a lot of people need to hear that. But let me ask you this question. Why you invite Kojay? Kojay is the man. We know Kojay is the man. What what do you see in that little mask wearing lucha libre over there?
Ever since we connected with wrestling, that's the main thing. But we just talk back and forth, and on Vero. And the thing is that some people, that's the one thing that with Zach, Kojay's like Zach in that you don't know them personally. You haven't met them in person. Well, this is the first. But their interactions, the way they conduct themselves and everything, they're genuine people. And that's the thing with Zach. It's like every time you see Zach talk, you see him with interviews, he's a genuine person. And when you see people like Zach and Kojay, you find a kinship with them. I don't know Zach personally.
Right.
But I've been defending this man since the get-go. Right? Well, why is that?
Right.
Why defend a guy you don't know personally, anything like that?
Right.
Why all of us are defending Zach?
Right.
Because he's a genuine person.
Right.
And that's the same thing I feel with Kojay.
Right.
Is that we bonded through wrestling, but other than that, he's a genuine person.
Yeah.
So that's the one reason.
He is.
That's the main reason. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I was just gonna bring him. That was a setup. That was just me pitching you an underhand pitch, and you just knock it out the park. But that was perfect. Kojay is a cool dude. He is. He's always been like day one. He's just been a genuine dude. Like you said, this hat right here, Kojay sent me this shit, and I got some books over there. Kojay sent me, but I saw Kojay, like you said, just watching him on Instagram, just watching him say shit. So I was like, wow, this dude's kind of deep, man. I'm gonna go holler at him. And it turned out.
You guys know I'm still here, right?
Oh yeah, damn. Kojay's still listening.
Oh damn.
But Kojay, I want to ask you. This was a setup question. What do you feel about today's news? You got Ben Affleck, and for like years people have been talking shit like Ben will never come back, and they're running him out of there. What do you think about what happened today?
I think me and my boy 44 on Sourcewall were right. Remember, we heard he was signing stuff. I knew he was going to come back when we heard that rumor. I just didn't know we were going to find out today.
Right.
And it's just nice to have these confirmations because it just makes everything that we've been fighting for so real. Because a lot of things these people are catching up on ever since the Snyder Cut has been announced that it's coming out is that they're now saying stuff that we've been saying for 2 years.
Right. Correct.
We believed it. It was like a urban rumor or a little urban myth of like Bigfoot or something, But, we believed it. We believed the man. It all comes back to Zack Snyder. He's the original source, and it's all free. It's all public. And we just believed him. Again, that conviction, sincere individual. I had the opportunity to meet him at SnyderCon, him and Deborah, and the Larry Fong, the stunt coordinator, and also the guy who did the stunts for Batman. He was really cool to meet. And you get a sense of family, realness, and we fight for that because that's a rare thing you see in Hollywood. There's a lot of, committee-made products, and it doesn't feel like art to me. You want personality, and he brings that, and I feel that, and I want to vouch for that because I want more people like that to get ahead of the game, and all artists can rise, So I'm forgetting my train of thought. So yeah, hearing stuff like Ben Affleck is coming back. It's like, oh, we knew, we had faith, and it's just nice to see that. We're not a bunch of crazy people, It's like, it's really good, uplifting and inspiring, motivating. It's like we're so close. It's happening, and I'm just glad it's so much. It's more than just the director's cut of the film.
Right. Right.
The whole concept and story that's returning, and seeing Ben Affleck come back, that's just great.
Right. All right, Kojay, let me ask you this. Another question. So that's probably like the hors d'oeuvres. That's that's not the entree. That's the beginning of this conversation. So now we're in this
That's the hors d'oeuvres.
The hors d'oeuvres, right. In this movement, everyone's now, Kojay, I've seen you come from the guy writing these long things on Instagram about like China or Japan in 1913 or something just out there. But now everyone I talked to, even yesterday, we were gonna put out some merchandise, and they were like, "Hey man, y'all should put Kojay first," or even Steve, like, "Hey man, can you holler at Kojay to get him on the show?" what is the level of rising? What is this Kojay rise that we're witnessing right now? Because I've seen you, and at every level, every step, it just seems like Kojay is a star that everyone should be following. What is this shit that you've been holding on to? You got this little zen something about yourself, or this like master splinter. Let me delve into that a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about your philosophies that you have that's gotten you to be the man in this movement right
Well, I don't know if I'm the man in the movie. I
now.
don't see
You're
it like that.
close.
But thank
You're
you for
up
saying
there.
that. No, seriously. Okay. I'll tell you, before I got really hard in uh, fighting for this movement, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's a really good friend of mine. He's actually the guy who turned me on to Superman. I used to be a Marvel guy, only in Batman and a Superman hater. He said, no, maybe you should read the comics. I was like, fine. Then I read a few, and this is around like 2008. And after I started, so I was catching up on a whole, like some people saw Superman comics as they came out in sections, but when you see everything as a whole, you kind of see this overall picture of Superman. And I fell in love with the character. And it was Funeral for a Friend, that comic line that made me fall in love with Superman. And I was like, wow, I was ignorant about this richness of this character for so long. Mm-hmm. I think that's the beginning of it. And then when I saw the second showing of Superman having, more of that world blowing up was in Man of Steel. And then I was defending that movie. And when this whole Snyder Cut thing, I was talking to that same friend, and he's not really much of a Snyder fan. And he said, "Oh, I don't think you should get into the fandoms or anything. They're so toxic. They're so angry and hateful." I was like, "Really? They are?"
Right.
And then, because I didn't know anything about Twitter, I was on. I didn't do much.
Right.
But and I was like, "Well, maybe that needs to change." I'm not saying I'm trying to change, but I'm just saying that I lead by example, because that's the only thing I know. I have no right to tell people what to do, or if this person, I have no right to cast judgment either. I can say my opinion, but I'm not going to fight anyone. I'm just going to try and help the best way I can. That's all.
It's working out for you, bro. I see your Mighty Pegasus shirt. I see, I see you blowing up.
Boy.
You try to be humble, but every time something big happens, Kojay's little face is right there, and I'm like, all right, I see my homie over there, dog.
I'm just trying.
All right, Steve, what's up with you? So how did you feel about the Batman news today?
See, the thing about it is that, like, ever since May 20th, like, all the handles, Gal, Jason, HBO, Warner Media, everything, Ben Affleck's social handles, they all tweeted Zack Snyder's Justice League. Right. They all tweeted the same thing. So that kind of told us, like, yeah, Ben is back as Batman, right? Like, if the plan was. Mm-hmm. And this, you just go back, all falls back to Zack, right? Because who was the one to get Ben to be Batman? Because Ben didn't have, it's all online about how the experience with Daredevil, even though that's I like that movie still. I still like it. But the whole experience and, fandoms and backlash and all this thing, playing a superhero kind of got to Ben and it's like, why would I want this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, as an actor, you don't need that kind of grievance. Like, already, Ben is a huge name. Right. He's in that 10%, like 10%. And to give it that 10%, what I'm talking about is that years ago I went to we're going to find an agent. A bunch of actors came together, and an agent talked to us like, listen, being an actor is really hard. It sucks. You're going to get rejections, everything. The successful ones is just 10%. And that's your Ben Afflecks, your George Clooney's. Those are the folks that middle America knows. Those middle America moms, they know their names. Mm-hmm. They can get on Ellen. Everyone loves them. Oh, Ben, I love you so much. So that's that little 10%, right? Everyone else, they're either a working actor, or they're trying to be a working actor, or being an actor and doing something else, a bunch of other jobs. Right. But Ben is in that thing. And already he's got all this attention on him. Now, to be a comic book character and the way things are, already when he signed on, it's like, what is this? I don't need this shit, right? like you have to understand, like what do I need this bullshit for? You know, I had so many friends like telling me, "Oh, Ben Affleck's being Batman. No, that sucks and that's blah 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 and all this nonsense." And it does get to you, right? Because you're trying to make something. Like we're all artists. We're trying to create something, and then some asshole just comes in and talks shit. And it's like, wait, you're not even like giving it a chance, right? You know? So I don't need this, and they tell me to die and everything. Like what? What is this? So I don't blame Ben at all. Like if he said like bun y'all, like I don't need this shit.
Right.
But who is the defining factor is Zach. And like we all said with Kojay, you know, everyone gravitates to go as Kojay. Everyone gravitates towards Zach. So, you know, Zach got him in, and who knows, you know, maybe Zach sends out like, listen, Ben, if I'm back, things are gonna be good, you know, things are gonna be all right. Also, Ben is healthy now. Ben's got a good relationship.
Right.
Things are smooth. Things are good. So it's
Right.
like, you know, and that's the thing about life. You go up and down. You have your bad steps, you have your bad moments, but you also have your good times where you just got to persevere and everything. And now Ben's in a good place. It's like, you know what? Let's give it one more shot. So I think
Right.
the what is it like I said, the May 20th tweet, that to me is a confirmation alone, because saying, yeah, I'm still part of this, right? So that kind of told us. Now here's an actual confirmation that he's back as Batman in the Flash film. So that's good too. But you know, it's like as soon as Zach came back, everyone else comes because everyone
Right.
loves Zach, right?
Right. Right.
I have a question for you, Steve.
Mhm.
I've been thinking about this all day, and I'm thinking, what if Ben Affleck Batman is similar to like CM Punk? Now we know CM Punk.
Yeah.
I think I've heard him say he won't come back unless things change.
Mhm.
Now I'm wondering if like a CM Punk guy like for like DCEU would be like Ben Affleck. He would come back if the situation and environment is better and healthier, maybe. Perhaps
Yeah.
if he's like, you know, if Zach's there, then I'll come back. If it's something like that. So his coming back, what do you think is similar to like that CM Punk level? Like he's coming back not just to do this, or he's coming back because there's actually a better environment to continue.
And see, that's the thing why me and Kojay like connect, go wrestling, because you see, the thing is, like, nobody knows wrestling is an equality of life. It mirrors life. If you look at wrestling storylines and everything like that, hell, that's how life works, man. And it's all like smoke and mirrors. But when you look into the heart of wrestling, like it actually takes in the social structures of life, how we are as a societies and everything like that. All these characters like Stone Cold and CM Punk, they mirror societies and movements. ECW mirrors a movement back in the 90s. Now the whole thing about CM Punk, that could be also with Bret Hart too. It's like we left on bad terms, but look, Bret Hart came back because time heals wounds, right?
That's my
Time-
favorite wrestler.
And
Yeah,
dude,
Yeah,
excellence,
Bret Hart.
execution, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
So,
All right.
so when you look at that, is that if you look at like things backstage and everything as such, it's the same thing with entertainment. It's the same thing with music. It's the same thing even in the corporate offices. If one person leaves because I didn't like the work environment, it's like things were going bad. But now things have changed. We got a new regime in. Things are better. It's like, okay, one of my boys is back. Okay, let me see if there I want to let me see how this thing goes. And okay, I can judge it for myself. Things are good, right? Like things are not perfect, but things are better. Maybe I can work with this. Maybe we can get back to the way the things were.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, similar situation. So I think if you look at a history of all the wrestlers that left Vince on bad terms but came back, because time heals. Or maybe someone else, like say Triple H, they would have said like, hey, I know you had beef in the past, I know you had grievances, but things are different now. Like we still got to do business, and in the end, you got to put that aside to do business. It's good for you, it's good for us. In the end, the fans win because the fans are asking for it. So let's work together to do business, right?
Show must
And
go on.
that's another thing. Like even though we heighten the individual, but really entertainment, this whole thing is a team effort, because you need two hands to clap, right? And you need those two forces to connect. And when those two forces connect, then you can do business. And that's what it is, right? It's all about doing good business.
Great answer. So where do we go from here, business-wise? Because everyone's happy now, but does it mean we get a Batfleck movie? Do we get the whole Snyderverse back, or what? Where do we go from here?
I think, there was a set plan before everything happened. And it's going back to my analogy of the road, of your path. You can steer away from the path, think there may be obstacles that come into your way, but you can always go back on it. The hashtag pause, not stop. That's what this is, right? The plan was paused, but it wasn't stopped.
Right.
So now we're back on it. You can always come on the path. So who knows? Maybe we do get Ben's movie. Maybe we don't. Or maybe we get variations of it. Or maybe we get something, a difference. Maybe we get Zach's full 5-arc story path of Superman. Or maybe we just get one movie. But the thing is that no matter what, things are coming back to the original plan, to the original setting. And we just move forward. And in the end, I think this entire thing is a good example of bad business, basically, right? You just, because it's never wise to play catch up. Even that goes for anything in life or whatever you do. You don't, and that even goes for you as an individual as well. I can say myself so many times, it's like I'm being in this acting field, going to auditions, working, then going to a gig after, coming home at like 1 o'clock, then waking up at 4 o'clock just to get to work. And then I see one next man's, he just steps in 1 month and then he gets a role in thing. I'm like, what? Right? But, and I think like, man, I gotta do stuff. I gotta get to that level. Like I gotta push myself. But the thing is like, I'm pushing to get to his status and I'm pushing to play catch up to this person. But I should play catch up to me.
Right.
Because I'm on my own set path and who knows how that will go. Right. And that's the thing, like just because Marvel had success, but that's their thing, right? That's their time. That's their time to get business. That's their time to do business. But don't play catch up to your opponent. Don't play catch up to your competitor. Right. You got to stick to your own. And it showed because when they tried to play catch up and it failed. We wouldn't, if they just stuck with the plan, none of this would have happened. Right. Correct. None of the whole debacles would have happened at all.
Correct.
Like unfortunately, maybe tragedy would have happened, but who knows? Like none of us are here to say that. Mm-hmm. But all I know is that if they stuck with the plan and just stick with it, like things turn around, right? It takes time. That's the whole thing about whatever you do in life. It takes time. It doesn't happen right away. When you play catch up, if you speed up, you crash, and that doesn't work.
That's why the rabbit didn't win the race, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's the oldest analogy. It's the oldest, stupidest kid thing, and we still don't get it.
Right.
That's how stupid we are as adults. We are like, we don't take to heart what we learned as kids.
Right.
And right. The tortoise and the hare.
Right. Correct.
Don't be the hare.
Right.
Because you gotta be the turtle.
Right. Right. No, that's you're dropping some bombs, man. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like God probably sent you to talk to me today. Everything, listen, everything is hitting so perfectly. Everything, what you're saying, it relates to so many other conversations that I'm having with other people. I'm gonna just send them this podcast and be like, yo, look at this. and it's gonna fit. I promise you, it's gonna fit all together.
No,
I mean,
and
the
you're
proof.
right.
Right.
Yep. The proof is what you're wearing your hat. Release the Snyder Cut. It took us 3 years, right? 3+ years, right?
Yeah.
To get this. But that's because of perseverance, determination. Like imagine we got that 214 cut, the compromise thing that Zach had, and that was it.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
great. Now a couple years later, let's say like shit happened. Let's say back in 2017 shit happened. And news got word out and everything like that. It was like there was this thing online. It's like, and WB is like, oh shit, we messed up.
Right.
It's like let's put out Zach's cut,
Right.
and let's get this shit done because we don't want none of this to balk right away. That happened. Now we're in 2020. Who knows, right? It might have been forgotten. It's like, okay, that thing's done. Let's move on to whatever.
Right.
But now look what happened, right? Now we're getting the full cut of Zach, the full vision of Zach. You know, so many filmmakers, even myself, so many actors or anything, whenever we finish our product, even so many artists, right? Even like whatever you do, you always look back, it's like, man, I wish I would have done something better. I wish I could have done that.
Right.
I wish I could have added that to it.
Right.
But now here's a chance of Zach actually doing it. Zach gets to go back and finish his film. No compromises. It's 100% Zach.
Yeah.
That's his movie. No one coming and saying, no, you got to do this. You got to change that. No, you got to do whatever. You got to add this. No. This is 100% Zach. So you just think about it. This whole entire movement is an example of how you persevere, how determination works, right?
Right.
So there you go. This whole movement is the turtle.
Right.
And now we're getting the whole thing.
Right.
And who knows what we'll see? We still do not know what's in this fucking movie.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right. No,
I want to add to that.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Everything you say is beautiful, and it totally comes from an artist. I could tell that because a lot of business tycoons may or may not understand is that the form of art isn't wrestling is an art, music is an art, drawing is an art, sculpture is an art, film is an art of arts together. So the one thing about art is that it takes time, investment to create something. You can't just rush the process. Otherwise, you lose the meaning along the way. And I think that's a hard lesson they keep making because people in charge keep changing or businesses change or whatever. But it's like, whatever the reason is, some people jump off the path of committing to crafting the art, crafting the story. Like they stuck to the guns with Harry Potter. And so it's just weird when you see them jump ship, but everything takes patience and investment. So I'll give it to MCU. They took their time. No one had their eyes on them when they started. They're like, oh, this is a cool movie. Then they're like, oh, it's coming together. They're like, yeah, we're doing it from the beginning. Then when DC did it, it seemed like they were expecting it all at once. And then Snyder was taking his time, giving us that artistic thing. Even for the movement, seeing how much he's giving us tells me how much he's been fighting on his end to give us the best of his vision, not just a certain number, not just a certain film that's as best as it is at the time. He wants it to be the best that it should be, not could be, and I really appreciate that as an artist. And those are the people I want to get behind and fight, fight for, not fight. But yeah, and I want to rewind a bit back because I forgot if I told you, Steve, but I used to work in castings. And everything you say is true. You got to stick to your craft and you got to keep being the best you, because only you can be the best you.
Yeah.
You can't be anyone else. And that's goes for every artistic thing. So you just got to keep at it. And one of my times in Hollywood, I ran into Patricia Tallman. She's an actress on Babylon 5 for Talia. And no, not Talia, Lita, sorry. So I don't know if you saw the show or not, but whatever, she's an actress, but she's a working actress. I respected that. She was even in Army of Darkness, with Ash. But she pays the bills. She makes her living as an actress. May not be as popular, but she does. Ooh, it got hot. Okay, anyways, and I asked her in person, I was like, what's the trick to become a working actor? And she told me, It's patience and
Mm-hmm.
persistence.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, I learned a third element, which was passion. So that's the triple P factor. So you stay on those and you could meet your goal, whatever it is. And I'm not saying riches. I mean, the goal of enriching what you're doing with your life that makes you happy. You attain that. No one can take that away from you unless you yourself give up. So same with this movement. It takes patience, takes persistence, and it takes a lot of passion. You can't rush it. Otherwise, you'll get a gratification for that moment in time, but you want to commit and make this happen, because when it happens for the right reasons, it lasts forever. It's like Princess Bride. It's timeless.
Yeah.
Oh, you throwing in the Princess Bride. I got you.
Yeah, I watch that movie every summer.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, I love that movie. That movie is the shit, bro.
Andre.
Yeah.
Everybody move!
All right, check this out. So we got 5 minutes on this Zoom, but I want to jump out. I want to do another Zoom because they give us like 40-minute increments. I'm going to jump out, and we just jump right back in and do it again.
Cool.
All right. Word. Peace.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yo, homie, how many hoodies you gonna buy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, yeah, yeah.
All right, I had to talk to our sponsors. We don't have any sponsors. I'm just bullshitting. But
I'll tell you, we just had a talk with AT&T, we talked with HBO Max.
Yep. See, there you go.
We're doing, man. They love what we're doing. I'm like, yo, Jason, man, just keep the Zach content coming. That coming like we'll do, man.
That's right, bro. All right, so our last chat, we talked kind of like our little philosophies on life and stuff like that, but let's get out in front of some stuff. Where do we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan with this Batman news now? Is he, because his Flash, is it going to be like Flashpoint, or are we going to see Thomas Wayne? Kojay, let's jump on that.
Well, if it's close to Snyderverse, I think it's going to be, if it's, along the vein of a Zack Snyder type of style, it's going to be like Flashpoint, but its own thing at the same time. Now, what I really love about BVS is that it resembled a lot of The Dark Knight Returns, but it was different because in Dark Knight Returns, Superman was pretty much a government stooge, and he'd do anything for the White House.
For Reagan, right.
I don't think Frank Miller was a fan of that. So that was his depiction and critique on the character. And that's what I thought of Superman, and it was not really a positive thing except in the end. And then that one, I think it seems like Batman brought Superman back to who he was supposed to be, because in that one, Superman, I lasered off Green Arrow's arm so he couldn't be an archer anymore, just to put him in his place. That's like some injustice shit right there. But of course in BVS, it's the other way around. Batman was the one who was lost, and actually I felt like BVS did more justice to Superman while emulating that Dark Knight Returns type of energy and style. I think Flashpoint has the opportunity to do that and play with this catalog of films that they had, because we see what Michael Keaton's gone, so everyone's thinking Batman Returns, right? So, and they've advertised this multiverse, so I think they're going to use the Flashpoint storyline and with the actors and content that they have to create something that brings them all together or celebrates everything. So I think it'll be 50-50, because I want that. I don't want to see exactly what's in the comics. I read the comics. I kind of want something, a new world, just like what Man of Steel and BVS did.
So maybe like a Flashpoint, but with his own twist of something new.
Like maybe a Flashpoint and some kind of crisis tale they're going to blend together. That's what I honestly see what would probably happen.
All right, I see that. Steve, where do you see with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or maybe Jared Leto, or some of these guys? Let's start with Jeffrey Dean Morgan first, because it's, Batman news today.
Well, first, let me say that all these movies, they're adaptations, right? They're adaptations of the stories. And as Koji said, you take ideas, but you don't want to see the literal translation, right? You want to see that's the thing about what Koji said about artists. When you take something, you want to put your own spin on it, right? Otherwise, you're just copying someone else's homework.
Right.
Now, and even when Zach did 300 and Watchmen, two direct adaptations of the source material, he even put a spin on that. He made some changes, but those are the only two movies I can think of that are really similar to the books, right? Even Age of Ultron, Iron Man didn't create Age of Ultron. I mean, it didn't create Ultron. I mean, and also with the Avengers, that's a play on the Ultimates line, which is a variation. The Ultimates line that Marvel did is a variation of the original line, right? So it's all adaptations of adaptations of adaptations, but you do your own thing. And as Kojay said, that Flashpoint, it's just, and Andy said that it's just an adaptation of their own spin on this idea. So now taking that into account, Jeffrey D. Morgan, if Flash is going, if this movie is going to tackle the idea of multiverses, time travel, and everything, well, obviously Barry has the confidence to do it,
right?
Because he did something in this movie. What could that be? I don't know. Maybe Justice League, they fail against Steppenwolf and Darkseid, and Barry's like, hold up, maybe I can do something. Then we go back in time because he's got the Speed Force, and maybe these guys prevent Nightmare from happening. They prevent Superman from going under the anti-life equation.
I think you're right, because Snyder said that Batman and Cyborg, they send flashback at a certain time with two opportunities as a whole, because he's like, you gotta make sure the planets align at the same time, right?
And the
I
key,
know that if Flash didn't do it before.
The key to this is that one section in BVS of the whole Nightmare sequence, and the main key to that is Bruce seeing Flash. That plays on the whole theory of time travel, right? Normally, let's say Back to the Future, Terminator, and everything. That's an idea of time travel in that you're looking at time as one continuous stream, and we can jump back and forth and everything. But that theory contradicts, because in our present timeline, okay, the three of us talking right now, let's say future Kojay lands in Wes's room. We're seeing that in our timeline right now. So in our perspective, that happens. That's a theory of time travel because we're seeing it directly right now. Now, let's just say we end this session, and then later on it's like, hey guys, wouldn't it be cool if, it was like all of us in our like late 60s, like, hey guys, you wouldn't it be cool if the Kojay goes back in time right now to this point? It's like, that's in the future, and we go back. We're creating an alternate, because right now that didn't happen.
Right.
Now in BVS, Bruce in his perspective sees future Flash. And that is his perspective and the viewer's perspective, because that is the timeline we are seeing. So that means in the future, Superman does go into the anti-life, and Nightmare, that whole scenario happens. So Flash, as Zach said, in the future, they devised this plan to say, Barry, you got to go back, because Bruce has seen it. It's like, no, you came into the Batcave, and like, what the hell are you talking about? I have no idea. Except that Lois is the key.
Right.
So now Bruce has that knowledge. So then in the future events, he can tell Barry, no, Cyborg, don't send him to this time. Send him to this time when the planets align and everything as such. So now to put this all in perspective is that with Justice League, and from a storyboard we saw of like Flash like this, and you see lightning in the foreground. Also, one of the pictures that Zach posted on Vero is like you see 3 flashes in this on this one frame, and he's got the blue lightning, so that could, possibly be the Speed Force.
Mhm.
So that tells, if everyone's paying attention, is that bad things happen in the future,
Right.
but something happens in the past to alter it,
Right.
so that doesn't happen.
You're
We
right.
don't get Dictator Superman, and Lois doesn't die.
Mm.
So if that happens in this movie, then Barry, knowing the history of like his mother and everything as such, he can say, okay, if I have this power, what else can I do? And then in comes Jeffrey Dean. If they play up that idea of Bruce dying, and Jeffrey Dean takes the mantle of Batman and everything as such, and then you get, who knows, you might get Michael Keaton's Batman going into a different parallel universe, because now in this movie you can play around with what power Barry has, and that is an exciting venture. But according to the article, is that Ben's Batman is the real Batman because we are still in the Snyder DCU universe.
Right.
So that's how everything plays in. Jeffrey
That's
Dean
dope.
is in the Snyderverse. Ben is in the Snyderverse. Michael Keaton is in a different universe, but brought into the Snyderverse and brought out.
Right.
So it's
That's-
kind of like opening windows, right? When you open a window, you see something, and you can bring in that thing into your world or not. Because this DCU is still Snyder's universe. Even though Snyder is getting to finish his film like a branch,
Right.
it's still his universe. And the way I see it, unfortunately, 2017 exists because things are moving forward from that. But everything else, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, it still plays in Zack Snyder's universe. What he established with Man of Steel and BVS, because that's the birth of it, and everything goes from there.
Branch up, right?
Right?
Right.
That's the roots.
Right.
And as we know, when you lay roots, well, everything grows,
Right.
and everything changes, and everything becomes what it is. I think what Zach said a long time ago is that he does his story, and he allows other filmmakers, other artists to do whatever they want.
Yeah,
right?
you see that
That's it.
SnyderCon. When
Yeah,
it's done,
yeah.
the goal is so everyone can express
Yeah.
himself.
But first, let him tell the story. Let him finish his story.
Right.
And then Patty can tell her story. James Wan can tell his Aquaman story or whatnot. So you can have Shazam's story
So
and everything as such.
that brings me to a point. You said, Patty, Wonder Woman's going back in time too. Does that tie in? Do you see that? Maybe something happened with Bruce or something, or what's that about?
Well, the thing is, we have to see what's in there, right? That's
Yeah.
the main things that we
goes
would
back
see.
in time.
What's that?
I don't know if she goes back in time because
Oh,
she's
she
been in
don't.
here for 100 years. I think it's just like this little section maybe Patty saw or production saw that, hey, there's no, if we do something here and how we end it won't ruin the end result here. You know?
So
Because
you
from
think-
World War I up into BVS, that's a lot. She's
Yeah.
been around for a while. You could probably,
right.
pick like a, I don't know, weekend in 1969, what happened there.
So she's not going back in time. They're just picking out a story that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Because
all right.
Wonder Woman, the story, she did have a flashback looking at the picture, but overall the story took place, before all of this shit happened.
And also what I see is like if Ben gets to do his Batman movie with Deathstroke and whatnot, I think that he may do it. If they were to give Ben a trilogy, that might take place before Man of Steel, right? So we've seen prequels to that movie. So
that'd be interesting to see how he breaks towards the end.
Because that's 20 years of Gotham, right? You said 20
Right,
years I've been
yeah,
fighting.
right.
And you might even get to see how Robin died or what the tragic story of that. What's the deal with Joker and everything as such.
Oh wow, that's dope! Imagine the ending of Ben Affleck's trilogy is an alien invasion of Zod or Man of Steel.
Right?
That'd be
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
That'd be crazy.
That's
Cool.
insane.
Right.
That's the thing. You
to see
you
where he
can
was
tell
before he
so-
got in the
yeah.
helicopter.
Right.
You can tell so many stories prior to uh, Man of Steel, or even prior to even Clark's ship coming down, impregnating Earth, right? So you can do so many things. You have so much rich text and story. Atlantis, nobody still knows about where Atlantis was.
Right.
You can even tell stories about that. You can tell so many other different like DCU characters, because the way you see it is that Superman, and after talking to the priest, right, the pastor, it's like, what should I do? When he has that Garden of Gethsemane moment, it's like, okay, now I'm coming out. Clark is like, I'm gonna come out as Superman in the suit. That gives the to me, that always told me that gives the confidence of, say, other characters in this world to say, wait, if this alien came out, maybe I'm free to come out as well. Like, I'm no more in hiding.
Right.
Because the emergence of Superman opens up that's what Zach was doing. Superman gives birth to the world of DC. Or it takes away the shadow of it. All these metahumans and characters in hiding, not being shown. Even Wonder Woman, like, she stepped away from the world, right? She was in hiding. She was secluded, didn't want to get involved. But then Superman comes in and gives all these heroes, all these gods, to say, no, come be part of this world, because that's my world. You are my world. Shit.
Right.
You're right. Same with the
writing.
villains, because a lot of villains were locked up and kept low key, and they're like, Amanda Waller's like, hey, let's use them, you know. And going back to what you said as the artist, as an actor, it's interesting because now I got thinking that, you know, when he accepted who he was as Superman and had the first flight, he was accepting his gifts, and he was put his AI recording of his father told him to. The only way you can find out how powerful and strong you are is to push your limits. Whereas before he came there and had that discussion, he was limiting himself by Earth standards and society standards that he grew up with, and it was stressing him out. In a way, it's like he didn't embrace himself yet until he connected with who he was, with the answers he was looking for.
That's dope.
It's like the actor, like if you're trying to, you know, copy what or try and emulate what the person ahead of you is doing, you're defining your world by someone else, and you can't see that. You can only see them from the outside looking in. We all see each other. We could all see each other from. We could all see ourselves from our inside. We can't compare ourselves to someone else. And I guess that world is what was stressing out Clark until he found out the truth of, oh, this is why I'm here. I am an alien, but this is my home, where I come from. And then he embraced himself, and boom, he was able to fly. It's like that with an actor. So you're your Superman. You're getting your cape. You're gonna be a working actor, flying around.
But that's the thing with all artists, right? Like, wait, if you can see it. I got the Wu on me for life.
Wu-Tang.
Saga continues.
Damn right.
Exactly.
Damn right.
We all did it.
But if you hear the stories of what Ray, Ghost, and all them says, like, you know, when they hear when RZA told them the idea of Wu-Tang, right? And they were like, are you sure this is going to work? There were doubts in it.
Right.
But that shows, but RZA had a vision.
He said, "Give me one." He said, "Give me 1 year of your life, and I promise I'll make it work." And listen, the only reason I interrupted you on your Wu-Tang is because I'm telling you, this is a God-sent conversation. I said the same shit to the same dude I'm just telling you about, who was having girl problems. I told him about the Raekwon intro on the purple tape. He was like, "Yo, I'm going to hang it up if it don't work." But they were like, "Yo, just keep striving, keep going, and it's going to work." The turtle, the hair. I'm telling you, bro, this is some God-sent shit, bro.
I seen it on a 20-inch Zenith.
Yeah. Believe it, baby. Hell yeah. So,
and it was recent, the anniversary of the purple tape. That was recent, too.
It was recent. Damn, dog. You cool as fuck, bro.
Wu-Tang changed my life, bro. It was like,
I got cream tatted on this arm right here.
Nice.
Everything around me. Yep.
Wu-Tang helped me accept that what I like isn't the reason my kids, I can't be ashamed of what I like, because when I was growing up, when I when Wu-Tang came into my life, I grew up with a huge Asian community: Filipinos, Taiwanese, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and we were kind of like our small little group, not really a gang, just a bunch of guys that like to hang out, play video games, and listen to hip hop. And we love Wu-Tang. We love kung fu movies, and their name comes from The Bride with White Hair, Part 1 and 2. And they even remade that movie, The White-Haired Witch. And when you listen to their lyrics, when they spit, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you connect with, you know, like use the force like Luke Skywalker, you know, that line. And then it's like, hey, they're geeks like us. And they're embracing who they are, and they're just, I'm gonna do that too.
And that's why it's like always like take a, like I remember like I'm old enough. I think we're all old enough to know that it's like all geek shit was white shit. Or, like it was always associated. You're some white. No, it's like no. Like when I listen to Wu-Tang, they're spinning about the same things I like.
Exactly.
They're spinning about like Saturday morning cartoons, comic books. Like we're Iron Man and everything. Oh, Daytona 500. That video, speed racing. Yo.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Still the dopest beat.
Oh my God, dog, you killing it, bro. Where you been at all my life?
It's a Motorola holder.
Mortal Kombat sound.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
Bloodstain the ground.
And they got and even all the references, like even the criminal, even when they did the Wu Gambinos, like Noodles, like Tony Starks and everything, Method Man, like was Sting.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is all the stuff we like, right?
Right.
And that's that breaks the conception that no, like you can be whatever you want, you can be whoever and still like geek stuff, and it's not secluded to, you know, basement white shit.
Yeah, there's no demographic. It is what you love.
Exactly.
Right?
It's great conversation. And you know, like I've done some work with members of Wu-Tang, like I could put videos, but they can get the perception of like mean, you know, like tough street guys. But like you said, man, if you break out a comic book, they know all of that shit. They know all of the old movies, the kung fu movies, but they know all the speed racer shit too, or like what Kojay is watching. What's that? Power Rangers. I bet you those.
No, Super Sentai Kamen Rider and Space Sheriff Gavin.
See, I didn't even know that shit, but I know some Wu-Tang members would know exactly what the fuck Kojay is watching, because like he said, man.
Yo, this is their end game. This came out in 2013. So,
but what I'm saying, embrace it. You know, it's not like we don't have to put on that persona of being the biggest gang member, the biggest drug dealer, or whatever. But just do what was you know. And I like what y'all guys are saying, man. You know, Kojay, you want to compound on anything? I don't even know what to ask you, but I see that hat. Me and you got the same hat, and I want to shout out. Kojay is the one that sent me this hat. You know, before
as
he
soon
really
as
knew me.
the shop happens, I'll be opening more. See, here's how the hats work. At first, I was gifting them because I gifted one to Chris Wong, Ping Pong Flicks. I gifted to you, Pete. Actually, Pete, you're the first person I gifted that hat. And it takes a while. Actually, I lose money on these. I either give them away, or if someone doesn't want me to wait until I can gift it to whoever I feel I can at the time, they could buy the hat. But money off of Zach. I think.
Is that me?
Nerd Queens. One of them wanted to buy one of the hats for the other one, and I was like, all right. And then as a surprise, I gave another one for free, you know, just because.
Right.
So it's, you know, as soon as the shop opens up, I'll make more and I'll try and get them out, and I'll let people know how they can get some.
I need a new one, so I'll buy it.
All right, don't worry.
It's all good. But let me ask
send one to you, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, you definitely need a hat, bro. I'm thinking Steve needs to hang out with the Watchmen. What do you think, Kojay?
Everyone should.
I look at this dude is cool as shit, bro. Look at this dude. Man. But Steve,
those are West Side Connect, man.
Yeah,
on the Transformers.
Yeah, hey, I live in the West.
Steve, it was so cool that I asked, "Yo, you want to be in Snyder Cut Fighters?" Because like he's like, "Nah, it's cool." But he did these cool expressive drawings of a lot of people in the movement that he likes and admires, which I think is beautiful and awesome.
Yeah.
Because we need more creativity and celebrate each other. We need to breathe and bring each other up, right? And he actually designed my character's outfit in Snyder Cut Fighters.
Yeah.
So he's the man, and I love that outfit. I was like,
All
oh
right.
shit.
All right, Steve. I think
Rey Mysterio, man. It's like that's best lucha right of all time.
Yeah, I go back and forth with who's my favorite, but all time it has to be Rey Mysterio because ever since he's been in the game. Well, when towards the end of WCW merging with WWE, that's when I really fell in love with wrestling, and Rey Mysterio has always been my guy. And, you know, I love Lucha Libre. So.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Listen, we need to have a talk about
Go deep.
The fact is, he's the sponsor. And you signed a contract guaranteeing him certain concessions, one of them being a spot on the show.
Well, that's where I see things just a little differently. Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but basically it's the nature of the beast.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the
Go deep
doesn't include selling out. Garth, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
And the second one got nerfed.
I like the first one. The first one was the shit.
First one is like DCEU, and
Right.
man, if that movie wasn't so gritty and stuff, it wouldn't give me hope to get over the passing of my father. Seriously, that movie got me out of hard places. Like, if you don't see when people say this is dark, I've seen some real shit that's dark. I've seen some fucked up Japanese films, some fucked up French films, German films, whatever. Dark is there's some stuff that's just evil and with like human mutilation. I think that's dark. But a lot of people, when they say dark, now it's usually they can't accept the realistic approach of it, you know? Like some other superhero films, like everything is like cardboard cutout, everything's so clean, neat. There's the same old backdrop or whatever, matte painting or background CGI or whatever. But you actually have the real grit of like, you walk down the street, you know, you can see some trash on the ground, there's some texture on the walls because it's been old, you know, there's real grit. That's real life, right? And the realistic films like the first Ninja Turtles movie, BVS, has that. And I think that brings a ground root that, hey, this fantasy and conquering evil can happen in our world, not just something all fairy tale pretty, you know? And I like that because then you go, oh, you know, we can win against evil in where we are right now.
Right, that's dope. Can I ask you how Ninja Turtles, the first one, helped you get through with the tragedy of your father?
Well, I never got to say goodbye to him. And my father was complicated because he was the cause of a lot of domestic violence. So it's really complicated and hard. And he took his life too. So it was really hard for an 8-year-old to deal with that, right? So for some reason, when Ninja Turtles, and it came out 1989, and I met my soon-to-be stepdad. So he's not really my dad by blood, but I regard him as father instead of the biological one. So you look at Splinter, obviously he's a different species. He's a rat. His sons are actual turtles, different, not even the same species, reptilian and mammal, right? But through the love and bond they had for the 16 years they've known each other, he regards them as his sons. And the last time he thinks he's going to see him in that projection, the astral projection, when they push their limits and they all meditated together, he's like, my final words is, I love you all, my sons. And he went away. Whatever my father was, good man or bad man, I got my closure right there as a 9-year-old.
Dang,
that helped
bro.
me big time.
And also
if
when
they didn't go
Splinter-
there, I don't know if I'd be the same guy I am today, you know?
Splinter tells it also to Danny. It's like Danny's always having there's problems with his dad because he understand him. And then when Danny helps Splinter, before he helps Splinter and they have their talks, and Splinter asks, "What about your father? Doesn't he care?" And then Danny's like, "Oh, my dad doesn't care about me." then Splinter says, no, all fathers cares for their sons. And then what Kojay's saying, like, it doesn't have to be a biological dad, like even your stepdad, like whoever takes the mantle of your father. And that goes also with Man of Steel, like with Jonathan Kent, right?
Exactly.
It's like the one that always breaks you, that breaks me, is like when they're having that discussion right after, like, should I have saved the kids in the bus? And he's like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, like, because I don't have the answers. Nobody
Right.
has the answers, right?
Right.
But these are real things that parents and children, like, these are subjects that we talk about. And when they see the ship, and young Clark's like, can I still be your son? Then and that line delivery by Kevin, it's like, you are my son. Like,
Right.
I'm tearing up right now because
Right.
that hits you.
Right. Right. Right.
That hits
Right.
you, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's in these movies, and also even when Splinter, like, that's the thing about genre. That's the thing what I love about. That's the thing what I gravitate towards genre. People like need to understand, like with comic books, and it was what Zach said about you're living in a fucking dream world.
Right.
Because we have to accept that if we were to take these characters seriously, and you should, because even though they may be have been made for children, but there are lessons in these things, right? How are kids supposed to know? How are
Right.
kids supposed to know anything? They
Right.
have ultimately kids have to accept the real world. They have to come face to face with it, and these are things that happen. So, and
That's
fortunately for
dope.
all of us, like I, I take me, Kojay, even our experiences, we got those things happen in an earlier time than most, and seeing these things happen that I can relate to a bunch of turtles, I can relate to an alien
Right.
who's going through the same thing, and that's where when you go with the whole Martha thing, it's like we Batman sees this enemy. He doesn't see like a person. He sees a weapon,
Right.
right?
Right.
And he stops because he has a mother.
Right.
He's just like me. His mom has the same name as mine.
Right. He's
What
not a
am I
weapon.
doing?
Right.
And it's in these stories, no matter what it is, we find something relatable. And when Splinter says, all fathers care for your sons, you are my sons. When Jonathan says, you are my son, that should hit you. Otherwise, what the fuck are we watching?
Right.
Why am I spending this time watching this stupid thing?
Right. Right.
If it doesn't mean anything.
Right. Right. That's dope, man. Yo, check this out. Why did that trigger you, though? Why did that part trigger you? I heard a little bit of Kojay's story, and I got my own stories. You know, my dad, I probably in the past 30 years, I've probably seen him probably once. You know, and we live like I live in South Carolina, he live in Georgia, so we're neighboring states. You know, so when I see shit like that, I'm like. It hits me too, you know, when I see the Jonathan Kent or, you know, even Master Splinter. And I used to call Kojay Master Splinter just from like his little Zen Buddha type ways. I didn't know about that shit that he just said, you know? So why did I see it kind of affected you a little bit. What in your past that it grabbed you like that, Steve?
It's just, you know, the hardships of life, and there's making no secret being this, living through life and everything. You get so many complications, and I see what my parents do.
Right.
But and also, there's another thing is that even though we live in the same household, you still can be distant to your parents. They still can't understand you. They still don't know you. You still don't understand them.
Right.
But you just find a connection somewhere.
Right.
And it's taken time, and I don't know, maybe fathers and sons, there's always this thing about them not being close. There's always this distant thing. The whole cliche about that. But we all go through the same things. We all go through experiences that there's a similarity, but there's also differences. But where do we turn to, right?
Right.
That's why, like, when I got no one else to turn to, oh look, I'll pick up a comic book. Let's see what's happening here.
Right.
I'll watch some TV just to take my mind off it.
Right.
And then I see something like, I see this movie about a rat talking to four turtles about father-son relationships. It's like, you don't know what's going to hit you. You don't know where you find it.
Right.
And that's the beauty of what we do. That's the beauty of all these creations, right?
Hell yeah.
And when that gets you, and maybe you learn something from it. And when you do, and it doesn't matter how old you are, I'm still learning stuff that can help me reconcile with my relationships.
Right.
And it may take a while, and that's the thing. That's of what you create. What you create as artists, if it doesn't say anything, then what are you creating?
Right.
What are you making?
Right.
And powerful art can heal. That's what Zach said.
Right.
And it's all these little moments that really hit you, that really you pick it out. And if you pay attention to what's going on, then you become aware of it. And that's the thing. We need to be aware. And we have to pay attention. And there's all these little things. You just need to pay attention.
That's a beautiful part, because as one thing I learned, because I was a dance major, is that art takes two. It takes the artist and the appreciator. And the artist has to put as much quality content to get the image, the feeling, the story across. But at the same time, the person on the other side, the viewer, the audience, the listener, the gamer even, they have the opportunity to look at it and decide, is this just paint on a canvas, or is there an idea? They have to do work too on their end to take part, And because let's go back to wrestling, right? So there's a lot of people like, it's fake,
right?
It's dumb. They're missing the point. They're just seeing it on the surface. That's like, well, a movie has a script. It's like the idea of what they're doing, of the work to portray a story or a moment or a feeling or a situation to entertain you, move you. I mean, I've seen some matches that moved me to tears because I knew what was going on in the story and even in their own real lives. And if you can drop your preconceived defenses that you're programmed to think, or even your preconceived notions based on the fear you've built up, just let your guard down and accept what is being told to you. You can experience it for what it is, and you might find a piece of yourself that you lost, didn't know about, and found again, So it takes that's where I feel a lot of discredit has happened to Zach, because a lot of people have been looking at it expecting something else. You got to give each artist and each artwork its own merit to speak for itself and not compare it to another thing, like we were saying from the very beginning.
Correct. And that's what they did. They looked at like, oh, Zach's movies, not Marvel movies. They were looking at his work through the lens of a Marvel viewer or whatever. And Kojay, you're 100% correct, man. So check this out. We're on our third segment, but I'm gonna wrap it up so we can get to editing and I'll have something, out in the morning. But I want y'all to, Steve, tell everyone where we can find you at. Give out some closing shouts, shout out whoever you want to talk to.
You can find me on Vero. Always better on Vero. You can find me on Instagram, SK47. On Twitter, I'm at Retrograve Prod. That's kind of like me and my buddy's own main production thing. But
I didn't know that was you for the longest time. I was like, this guy's cool too.
But the thing is that they don't like tweeting, so I'm like, because Twitter is such a cesspool. Twitter's
it's weird.
Twitter's what Twitter is? That Twitter is high school lunch. Like everyone's got their own tables. And everyone talks and talks. Everyone, and you got like the black table, you got the white
Right.
table, you got this, the Asian table, you got the geek
Right.
table,
Right.
and and then you get that one table where everyone loves.
Right.
Then you got like this one person that goes to every table to get information. But everyone's got to step out of lunch. Lunch has got to end sooner or later.
Correct.
So
100%.
so when you understand that, it's like I'm the only one that tweets. Okay, I'll handle tweets and everything. but mostly you find me on Vero. Get on Vero because that's Zach's playground. You find all the information there.
Right.
You can also connect. It's a much better place on Vero. You can connect with Lord Kojay and everything. But those are the main things. And now things are on our end, and also in I think about LA from what Richard Citrone, the stunt actor for Ben. He's been saying that things are slowly picking up, and I'm sure Kojay, you must have heard some things like things are slowly happening, and with production wise, like understanding COVID rules and everything. I just did a gig on Tuesday night where very strict COVID um, regulations and everything as such. Like for instance, if you want to go to crafts, you basically got to line up, say what you want, they'll give it to you. So everything's been slowly happening, but now that things are happening, who knows? Maybe Zach will shoot next week. You never know. They'll have to start, but things are happening. So
Right.
you can always find me on IMDb. That's where you see all my credits and more coming up. But just if you type Steve Kasan, you'll find me on Go Deep and everything else.
Damn right, bro.
And what about Dark Side of the Ring episodes?
Dark Side of the Ring, man. All you wrestling fans, if you want to know some stories, like if you want to know stuff like that about what happens backstage, if you want to know some lives of these wrestlers, like after wrestling, like for instance, Dino Bravo, back in the day, after he was done wrestling, he got with the Montreal Mob because what is a 6'2"? No, what is a 5'10"? Two almost 300-pound guy supposed to do? Oh, I'll be an enforcer for the mafia. And then tragedy happened. But that's Dark Side of the Ring 2 seasons, and we have reenactments of basically what the commentators and remaining wrestlers unfortunately talk about of these stories. And in those reenactments, you'll see me playing out.
So how many episodes do we see you in? I know we go IMDb, but how does that work? Do they call back other actors? Because they do a lot of lighting to hide your face. They just want the
because
imagery.
What
So
they
how much
did
work do you
was
do on
that
it?
what they did with the reenactments is that they got like body lookalikes and not facial because they took a more surrealistic theater approach to it, and you see it with the lighting and everything. And because of body size, they used a lot of independent workers in the area. Some they flew it from, let's say, Minneapolis or some other territories. And for some of these other characters, if they can't fit the wrestlers, they get guys like me to come in and play some of the cops and play some of the EMTs and all these other characters and everything as such. But it's all to hide the faces because you can match bodies, but you can't match faces in a way. But it also again keeps this theater aspect of it. That's what they want to do, and everything's all blurred out, and you're just seeing because some of the things of these reenactments is that you're hearing stories, you're hearing these wrestlers talk about it after years, right? Like for instance, we have an episode on Jimmy Snuka, and the whole thing about Jimmy Snuka is did he actually murder his girlfriend or not? That's
Superfly?
Superfly, yo.
Dwayne Johnson's uncle, right?
Yeah, rest in peace, Jimmy Snuka. But
I didn't know that.
so he's got his, I think his nephew or cousin, a Tonga kid. Now this is years later after wrestling on the mat, getting and hitting the mat. I got to do that a bunch of times. It's like getting into a car crash, right?
Oh yeah, I used to do stunts, but we had pads, not bouncy wood. That's harder.
No, like that's the thing. And me always wanted to be a wrestler, like as a kid. I got to play wrestler, but I see when you see them construct the ring, those are floorboards, and then you just got like this piece of like this mat, and springs, but that's it. You just got floorboards,
right?
And you're hitting this like back first, like this, so that you brace the impact. But every time you hit back, it's it's
You're,
what
you're
Edge
hitting the
said.
ground.
It's almost like in a car crash almost. And it's easy to get all these mini concussions and everything.
Yeah,
If
in
you
martial
don't,
arts we call them break falls because if you're hitting the mat, you want to move your
go like
shoulders,
boom.
hit there, tuck your chin here, so your head doesn't hit there and snap here. But you still get a lot of pressure. Even I knew this guy who did commentary at local indie wrestling, and then I said, "How are those chops?" And then he actually gave me a chop like straight across here, like it was like, all right, I haven't done that one. But yeah,
and those
it was harder than
ropes
that
don't
though.
give either. Yeah, it's like the ropes, like you're bouncing off the ropes. Those don't give. So that's why wrestling training, you gotta hit the mat a lot of times so your body gets adjusted. And when your body gets adjusted to the impact and also the pain receptors and everything, then okay, we can move. You can keep going. But knowing all that, you're hearing stories from wrestlers that have done this for like 30 years. You don't know how their memory is, and you don't know like what their perception is and everything. So that's another thing. Like with these reenactments, like okay, it's a cool thing to show, but is it real? Did it really happen that way, or is this someone's like fabled perception of what happened? You know?
Let
And
me
we see
ask.
it now. We see it now today with movie reviews. Like when you read a review, it's like this is not what happened in the movie. This is like your stupid agenda going on here. Like what movie did you see?
Right.
So that's the thing about these things. So we kind of kept it like that, but again, it's a drama series, a documentary investigative journalistic type of series about wrestling lives, and it gives validity to this art form. So Dark Side of the Ring, you can go on Viceland or you can go on YouTube. All the episodes are there.
Yeah, I bought all seasons on Amazon.
Mhm.
They have it there for streaming.
You can go there, and you can understand that wrestling. It's one of the purest art forms if you think about it.
Let me
I
ask
like
you
it
a quick.
because it's actors who do their own stunts. That's really hard because some actors don't even know how to run, like from here to here, And because a lot of actors are learning just to be emotional, some just in their face, few in their body, and many are not really physical at all. Like you will get like a Jet Li, of course. He's been a wushu expert for a long ass time, but it's rare you get actors who actually have some talent, like either basketball or whatever, or fighting or dance. And that's what made Channing Tatum so amazing. He could dance, he could move. It's the whole package, and you don't have to see a stunt double. You get intimate with him, and the few actors can do it. And wrestlers, they're performers, they're actors, and they're athletes, because you have to be like an athletic UFC shape and more to endure all this stuff and take care of yourself and do a good show.
Tell me this. I want to ask y'all a question. Mental health. Tell me something about Chris Benoit.
That was your episode.
That's what I liked him. He
you
always
gotta
seemed
see the
crazy.
first 2 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring season 2.
Okay.
Our boy's in it, and that'll
That's
answer all your questions. That's like an hour and a half. Bro, you can't just answer in one.
And we did this one thing. I mentioned this when I got on Lightcast, but we had to do this one reenactment. It's the day after. No, it's like a couple hours after Benoit, the tragedy happened.
Right.
So we did a reenactment of his first kid from his first marriage, hearing the news and listening, the cop telling him the news that his father passed away. So we did a reenactment of I'm playing the cop and I'm telling this kid. So before that, we heard David Benoit, him talk about it, and you see him, and he broke down, and I'm watching this, and I was a huge fan of Benoit, his work and everything, and now I'm gonna have to recreate the scene with that in my head, and with actors, like if you want to make it good, make it believable, make it real, right? So going all that and doing this is like, okay, it's like we're just playing parts, playing roles, but there's one thing to play the role and there's one thing to be in the role, right? And even in a reenactment, that's still in your mind as a wrestling fan, right? As a person who grew up watching this, and also who admired Chris Benoit. And I still admire his work, right? And to do the scene where I'm telling this young kid, having watched that footage already of David, it was one of the surreal things I had to do while filming, among all the other stuff. Because the thing about this series is that there's a lot of tragedies, unfortunately. But unfortunately, those are the most popular stories that happen in the wrestling world. But in terms of like Chris Benoit, it's that kinship with Eddie, and to me, and I think Jericho said it in the episode, is like when you have that strong bond with someone, especially when you're on the road all the time, and suddenly they go, and they touched this on the episode. It really, that's what broke it. And then after that, like how do you come back to that? And that's why like mental health, and it's a real serious, is a very serious issue. That's that episode right there, because once it's broken, how do you fix it?
Right.
Can you fix it?
Right.
Are you able to fix it?
Right.
Is it even fixable? That's a big question.
Yeah, it's crazy because I work for a neurology office, right? And we deal with a lot of there's a lot of testings that go on with patients that have Alzheimer's and dementia, and sometimes there's a lot of sections in the brain responsible for certain memory, thinking process, and multiple things that make us work, right? And there are both like emotional and physical things we do to create toxins and antibodies that affect our brain. And also physical trauma can also send, issues that, hit our head, like especially a lot of concussions and then the CTE situations. And so mental health is also both emotional and chemical. So we really have to practice both healthy thinking behaviors as well as healthy lifestyles to take care of ourselves. Because the older we get, the more delicate we become. So we gotta just stay on top of our game, challenge ourselves, push our limits.
Give me some physical traits of overthinking, Kojay.
Yeah.
Physical traits of overthinking? What do you mean?
You said thinking could be both mental and physical.
Yeah, like for example, you get set in your ways, and I see this with a lot of some elders in my family. They get set in their ways where they they no longer learn new things or challenge themselves. Like I just introduced my uncle to picking up Sudoku, and he's gotten better at it. He's changed his mind, because then you're looking at your cognitive abilities are looking at shapes and making sense of them and trying to figure out something. Another way is learning a new language, picking up yoga. Learning new skills is a great way for your body and mind to stay fresh, sharp, and strong. Because when you stop challenging yourself,
right?
Like, let's say you just, hey, I got my goal at the gym, I got my 6-pack, and then you stop going. What's gonna happen to that 6-pack?
You're gonna lose it.
What's gonna happen to your posture?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you got to keep maintaining and challenging. And sometimes the best way to maintain is to challenge and push forward. So if like this is the borderline of a healthy life, and you're just teeter-tottering here where this is danger and this is healthy, you want to go up here and keep raising your bar. So you never know what's going to happen in life. You might get in a car accident and you can't do something with one limb, and you go down a bit. Then you have to work your way up. It's mental and physical. And I also want to say emotional, because when you get scared, you feel a burst of energy, right? Because your mind and heart, you send all these energy through your nerves, through your limbs, and then when you're nervous or scared, you get sweaty palms. A lot of things are emotionally driven too. So if you practice healthier environments, things that don't trigger you, or find healthy ways to make solutions. Perfect example is when people fight online on Twitter, realize that, okay, this person is set in their ways, I'm set in my ways, we're just going to keep going in a circle. Maybe it's time to say, okay, agree to disagree, until we can find ourselves in a healthy mindset to maybe talk again, or maybe not. And, everyone goes on their journeys. It's like healthier practice and treatment and training of our body, mind, and spirit is, I think, the healthiest thing we can do, because you never know if a accident might happen or something,
Right. You're 100% correct. I
Some
think
of
that's
the best thing to do is always the best thing to do at times is to walk away. And when you walk away, everybody wins because
Sometimes, yeah.
then you don't that battle doesn't keep going.
right.
Sometimes let's say if you get into an argument, sometimes you got to make them win the argument. You got to lose. Because sometimes when you lose or sometimes when you back off, you actually win. And it's better that you won in that regard. And for them, they might feel a sense of joy that they won something, but really you're the one that won the battle
Right.
because now you're not involved in that situation anymore.
Right.
So that's walking away. If you learn to walk away, if you learn to know, okay, you know what, you take this, I'll take an L, but really, are you really taking an L?
Right.
Because
Because sometimes what we're fighting for is just the realization that two people are different. They're thinking there's no win or loss. The loss is only if you stay there and hurt each other more. Because I think if we're talking about perception, let's go back to BVS, right? Batman's perception was that Superman was the cause of issues and the biggest threat and problem, and it's the most simplistic way. And Alfred called him out, said he turned cruel, right? His ways are cruel. He's branding people. He's inadvertently, causing deaths and injuries to people. Although Zach said some people walked away from it, and then jokingly, but when he realized that he was wrong at that Martha moment, he's like, hold on. One mother named Martha is not going to die, not on my watch.
Right.
What did he do? He went back, but he was still cruel because he didn't know any better. But he used his cruel ways to do one thing good, just like he was telling Alfred, the one thing that's going to make a difference in my life is to take out Superman, pretty much, when he was saying that after that whole Hunter thing. So he's like, this is the one thing that I could do to make a difference. But then when he found out he was wrong, he realized a new one thing that can make a difference is to save one mother of a son, one Martha that he never got to. He got to close a door that he never knew was there. And he would not have known it was there if he didn't realize he was wrong. Obviously, he has to figure out ways of his cruel style, but he took what he needed to make a difference, what he thought was a difference. But when he realized he's wrong, he's like, no, I need to take what I know now to make a difference here. And that'll matter.
Damn.
So you really got to look into a lot of things.
You guys are on point, bro. It's a perfect conversation.
I just watched Zack Snyder movies. I'm good.
No, we got to have more conversation. I think dudes in general should just talk more like this, just have this shit out, because I think a lot of people are going to feel these type of conversations more than we just talk more than about the Snyder Cut. We talk more than about other shit like that. And I think it's a good release,
Yeah, it's okay to talk.
Yeah. Shut up.
Talking matters.
Black talking matters.
There you go. Black talking matters.
All right, guys. So thanks for coming on the show. Like I said, I'm going to edit this up and I'll probably have it out in the morning.
We should show our wings one more time.
Damn right. Damn right. Wu-Tang for the kids. Wu-Tang forever. Bam. Peace. Yo, Steve, I'm gonna try to get you in one of these chat rooms. We call it the Watchman chat. But I think you need to meet some of these guys and converse with them.
Definitely. Most definitely.
Cool. Thanks for coming on, man. Go deep. 191. I will
9 away from 200.
Damn right. Appreciate it, Steve. Appreciate it, Kojay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.